Thank you for joining For Our Special Kids, where we openly and honestly discuss the magic and the mess of raising a child with special needs. We are thrilled to have you here and hope this time provides you with some wonder and wisdom. I'm your host, Jennifer Lansing. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. It's Jen. I am currently in the bathroom of a hotel in Sebastopol recording this intro for you. Goodness gracious, if you could see me now, I'm sitting under a pillow. So just ignore the sound quality. I'm doing the best I can. It has been a heck of a week. We had tons and tons and tons of snow, as in like feet and feet and feet of snow in Tahoe. Teal and I barely made it down here yesterday with the weather. We have 4 days of neuroplasticity lessons with Sylvia Shordyke of Neuro Horizons. She was one of our first interviews, so go check that out. But now Teal is asleep. Fingers crossed she stays asleep in the other room. And I'm trying to get this podcast out to you guys. It is currently 11:32 p.m. and I'm tired. This whole single parenting and traveling thing is wearing on me sometimes. So anyways, this week we are highlighting Haley in a What's It Like episode. Haley has brittle bones disease and shares very honestly with us about finding love, the struggles of other people's discrimination towards her and her partner, her wife, her personal traumas and how she had lots of fear growing up, her traveling challenges, caregiver realities, celebrity stalking, red carpet dreams, and so much more. So I truly want to thank Haley for her bravery and honesty with us. It's much appreciated, and it was a pleasure speaking with her. Be sure to check out her YouTube channel, Angie and Haley Present. As always, I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think. I am excited to introduce you to Haley Arcuri. Haley is a 38-year-old woman who was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bones disease, type 3. She has one of the most severe cases of this condition. She uses a wheelchair to get around and requires 24-hour care. She's under 3 feet tall, not employed, but does keep herself very busy with her YouTube channel and singing for TikTok. Haley has been with her spouse for 14 years. They are a proud same-sex couple. She wrote to me that I never thought I would find love, but I did. And I want to share that notion with others who perhaps feel the same way I did growing up. Haley, welcome to the podcast. And thank you so much for being our first daughter to be interviewed from someone else that has been interviewed.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel really honored. This is my first interview for a podcast, so it's awesome.
You'd never know the way you're chatting with me prior. So you sound like an expert. So I wanted to actually just kind of follow up on that quote that you sent me about you never really thought you'd find love. And the reason I think it's so apropos is because the Valentine's Week episode that we did with your mom was about love, and her love is palpable for you. And obviously you two have a really wonderful relationship. But tell me a little bit more about your beautiful relationship and how that all started and what that means to you.
I met Angela 14 years ago. It would be the summer of 2009. I was on a dating service called Match.com, and it happened to be that she was also on that website, and she was the one who reached out to me first. And I always like sharing that tidbit because prior to that, I was always the aggressor, the flirt that would go up to the person and ask them out or ask them to go to the dance in high school or whatever. And, I wanted to be pursued.
Yeah.
I never really got pursued growing up by anybody in a dating realm. And so it was really exciting that she reached out to me on Match and just said, "Hey, I really like your profile. I think you're really cute. I'd love to get to know you better." Something along those lines. I don't really remember specifically what she wrote.
So just typical stuff when you're meeting someone new who's intrigued by you.
Yeah, totally. So she wrote me and then I wrote her back and then we kind of sent little messages here and there. The more we got to talking, she just wrote me on actually Facebook Messenger and she was like, "Hey, would you like to be my girl?" And at
That
the
makes my
time I
heart
was
patter. I'm like, woo!
right, I was like, "Is she for real?" Like, because it was kind of sudden and soon, but also it was really flattering and exciting. And so I was nervous at first because also I had just gotten out of a relationship 6 months prior to that. And it was kind of a hard breakup for me. And so I was leery to trust somebody right away.
Yeah.
But inevitably and eventually I did. And she agreed to come down to meet me. And we've been together ever since. She moved in with me the following year, 2010. And we had a commitment ceremony in 2011, February. Yeah, we've been together ever since.
And your family adores her. I know that.
Oh, they love her.
Uh-huh.
And I love her family. And I
Yeah.
hope they love me too. I think they do.
I would imagine.
But
You seem
yeah,
pretty lovable.
my mother-in-law is super sweet and very accepting. And something I was very nervous about was meeting her family and her mom because I'd never met someone that I've dated's family before. And I was afraid, like, what are they going to think? Because, I'm high level care. I'm in a wheelchair. I may not be able to provide financially for her. I don't want children, all these things.
Yeah.
And when we met, she was so gracious to me and she saw that we made each other happy. And that's really all she said she could want for her daughter. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have gone better.
That's so cool. As you mentioned, you hadn't gotten pursued prior to that. And, you grew up in a really small town community.
Yes, I did.
I mean, I live in it
Tahoe
currently,
City.
Tahoe City, California. I mean, I am right here in it. I know you listened to the episode that I did with your mom. The stuff that she did to create wheelchair access and all of that profoundly affected my daughter. Teal uses those facilities and I'm like beyond grateful for that.
Yeah, my mom, she sure went to bat for me basically my whole life, and she still does. Both of my parents still do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a blessing to be able to go up and down on those and be able to get to my classes and to the gym. And
the reason I brought that up is because I am contemplating like how life will be for Teal in this small town. Currently the kids and everyone are amazing. I mean, everyone is so kind and so loving. And Teal has a very magnetic energy, just like you do, right? Like Deborah, your mom, talked about it a lot, and I can feel it and see it just by interacting with you. You've got this great personality. So it's easy to be nice. It's easy to want to be friends with you, etc. But how was that being one of the only disabled individuals in Tahoe City 38 years ago or 30 plus years ago?
growing up, I didn't really think of myself as disabled. I kind of forgot because I really wasn't around a lot of disabled people. I mean, honestly, and everyone I knew was able bodied. It wasn't really that much of a shock to me. The hard part was, like, I don't know if you remember my mom having to do these assemblies to like teach the kids about me and to be careful around me and all of that. Those having to do those assemblies was kind of awkward because I didn't like all the questions and what happened. And I mean, we had to do this every year for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I guess just the extra attention that it brought, I didn't really like it.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good perspective for me and a lot of parents that are thinking about that stuff, because I watch the school kids that Teal goes to class with, and they treat her differently. In other words, like they think because she's not talking that she's intellectually challenged, and so they kind of talk down to her like she's 2 or 3 years old. And my daughter's 6.5, and
Wow.
I would imagine you probably get some of that too. Like, oh, you're in a wheelchair, you must not be smart. I mean, it's so stupid, but people
Yeah, it is
equate that
stupid.
stuff together, don't they?
Yeah. And I've had people like kind of yell when they're talking to me, like they think I can't hear them, or they kind of talk in like a baby
Yes.
tone to me. And it's like, yo, bro, I'm 38. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not 5.
Well, and I don't even talk to 5 year olds like babies. This is such a heated topic for me because my mama bear gets really animated when I hear people talking down to
Yeah,
Teal or others, because you're a human being. That's all that matters.
exactly. I totally get it.
So, how do you deal with that? Like, do you just say, dude, I'm 38? I mean, how do you deal with it now if it happens?
I mean, I'm polite, but I don't really sit there and have long conversations with strangers. For one, it's a germ thing for me, especially with COVID around. I really don't want a stranger coming up to me, oh, can I give you a hug? Or,
You're all no.
I mean, and that's happened to me many
Wow.
times. And so I just don't really allow the interaction to last a long time. But I just try to be polite because that's me. I'm not going to be rude, but I also won't allow it to linger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. And it's very interesting when people approach Teal and me at like a Target or something. I immediately know within about 3 seconds whether Teal connects with that energy or not.
Right.
She's not, well, she's verbal-ish, we like to say. So it's really palpable. We met someone a couple days ago and Teal would barely even look at her. She wasn't being mean, but she just was like, I can't deal with that energy.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you have
And
to
it's an
be.
energy thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to go through the whole thing. Like if someone asks me, "Oh, how old are you?" or they'll see Angie with me and they think she's my sister, or she's even gotten my mom before.
You do have lovely young looking skin. I mean, there are no wrinkles on your face.
Well, I will have to tell you, this camera does have a filter
I
on
need
it,
that
so
filter.
my secret is out. But like that really bothers her. Or they'll ask her something about me.
Oh,
I can talk.
that drives me.
I can understand. Just at least try to talk to me.
I'm assuming these are the thoughts that Teal have in her head, but she can't tell me all these things yet.
Right.
So again, that mama bear comes out when people look at me and ask me to answer for her. And I immediately turn and ask Teal. They'll say to me, how old is she? And I'll be like, Teal, how old are you?
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to people?
I would say you can go up to them and say hi and be friendly, but I mean, I understand curiosity is a thing as well, but I would just assume that most people don't want to be bothered with a ton of questions in the middle of Target or the grocery store. We're just out there doing our thing. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want a full on interview. Like, so just be polite, say hi, give them a compliment, but don't go on and on and on and on and on to them because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know if they're feeling good that day, if they want to have a conversation, if they're even able to talk, like your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm not a people person, I am, but it does take away some of my energy.
Well, and you mentioned that even doing a 30-minute interview with me might tap you a little bit. So talk to me
Yes,
about that. You do you sleep more? How is this affecting you on a
I love
physical
my
perspective?
sleep. If anyone knows me, They know Haley likes her sleep. Go to bed late, between 11 and midnight. I'll wake up anywhere from 9, 10, or even noon.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on the day before, how busy it was or how much sleep I had the night before, something like that.
So do you require more sleep, or is this just your own personal thing?
Medically speaking, I don't know if I require more sleep. I feel like I do, because if I don't get at least 8 hours of sleep, I feel kind of crappy the next day, drained. And talking for long periods of time drains me as well. I don't know why. I'm not sure.
Part of these conversations that I have with people is to better understand. So,
Sure.
medically, obviously you mentioned that germs are an issue with COVID, but I would also imagine you getting a lung infection would be
Yes.
very different because you're not mobile. I mean,
No.
you're not physically moving around to release toxins and get all that stuff out. So, can you
Yes.
describe some of the things that happen on a medical perspective for you, or things that you have to be aware of?
So, yes, if I get a sore throat, it usually goes straight to the lungs within a matter of a day or two. That's risky for me because my lungs are kind of constricted. I can't take full on deep breaths. It's more shallow breathing just because of how my rib cage is and my spine. So I have to really be careful if I do get sick to go to the doctor, check to see if it's viral or bacterial, and get on antibiotic. Fortunately, I haven't been sick in over like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But also, I haven't been going out as much because of the pandemic. Fortunately, I haven't caught it yet. I don't know how or why. And I don't want to jinx
Yeah, I
anything.
know. I'm like, knock on wood.
Yeah, definitely knock
Yeah.
on wood.
Yeah.
But I really don't go out very much. I get my groceries delivered. We may go on a walk if it's a nice day, get out of the house, take our dog out for a walk. Last night I went to dinner with a friend. So I have been trying to get out a little bit more, but honestly, I feel more comfortable at home. I feel safer at home. I feel just better at home.
Yeah. So are you in pain at all?
No,
Oh,
I'm
isn't that
only in
great?
pain if I have a fracture.
How often do you get a fracture? I mean, when your mom, okay, no, we won't even go there. I'm sure some of that was really hard to hear. Well, we can. How was the interview
It's
with your
fine.
mom? She talked about how they didn't know this when you were born, and then you had all those fractures when you were just a little baby. And I mean, how was that growing up like that? And then how is it now?
It was very scary for me, especially when I got sick. I didn't know if I would have to go to the hospital or not, because I did have to go to the hospital a lot more as a child than I do now. So my childhood was fearful. I was fearful of going to class. And anytime I heard a student or staff coughing, it would be an alarm to me. It would be scary. And if someone was coughing next to me, I would ask them if they would mind moving to another seat, because it was easier for them to move than me because of, just how the classroom was situated. Usually they had a certain space for me. Yeah, it was a fearful childhood, not only to get sick, but also fracture. Didn't want to get bumped at school. I didn't want to, even getting lifted at home by my family, my parents, it was scary because mistakes happen.
Yeah, a little slip, just like a little jostle would probably.
Yeah. So it's a fearful life, and it still is.
Do you do therapy? When you were a kid, did you talk to people, or do you have an outlet to kind of help you with the process?
I did see a therapist on and off growing up, and I did in college. I haven't gone in like a few years, probably ever since COVID hit. I haven't gone. It can help. It does.
Yeah, I was just immediately when you started talking about the fear as a child, I'm like, PTSD is real. I mean, just being able to
It is.
cope and not be triggered by certain things because you are in a safe environment now. You're not being exposed to lots of external influences, but at the same time, triggers are real.
They are. And, I think that's part of the reason why I feel so safe at home is because I know my house. I know, everything's here for me.
So let's talk about what you're doing at home. So passions, like what are things that you love doing? Obviously, singing is one of them.
I love singing. I love taking pictures and editing them and making my skin look flawless even when it's not. Like I will stand behind a good filter. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like how I look without a filter. I do. I love myself. A little added lipstick or something with the camera.
Absolutely. I need that filter. Well, and okay, so you do have a hugely positive outlook. You can just feel it. I can see you, but other people can hear it. How do you stay positive? I mean, this isn't an easy life. I mean, it's not like you're running around jumping and traveling and doing all sorts of things. So how do you stay positive, and what advice can you give for anyone, whether anyone that has an extra special extraordinary need? That's what we call special needs in my household. What do you say to them?
I'm just lucky. I guess my brain is wired chemically correct that I don't get depressed very often. Now, I do have anxiety pretty much all the time, but I try to hide it and I just focus on the positive things in my life and the people in my life that help me every day. My family, my friends, my wife, my caregivers, they're all here for me. If I am feeling in pain or not well, I try to think of a time when I was happier. It's all about mindset, I guess.
You just read
I
my
really
mind.
don't know the secret.
Yeah, I did an interview yesterday with Annette Moreau, and we were chatting about this, and it's about holding yourself accountable to the thoughts that you think. If you have a negative thought, it attracts more negative thoughts. So
That's right.
do I want to sit and wallow in this negativity, or do I have a choice to think differently? I'm not saying go all peaches and cream and roses and whatever, but there is a choice every single moment to say, how do I look at this? And can I look at this differently from a different perspective?
That's very true. Yes, I agree.
All right. So, in terms of where you're going and what you're doing, where do you see life taking you in the next few years? What's on your Haley to do list?
Well, I would love to get on the red carpet of a
Okay.
premiere and interview a lister celebrity.
All right. Let's make this happen.
That's my goal.
I mean,
Like,
your email list or your email is hilarious. Will you share it with
I
me?
love Yep. I
I
love
love
celebs at
celebs.
gmail.com.
Are you okay if people contact you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So are you a
Yeah.
stalker of a certain celebrity? Like, who are your favorites?
I wouldn't say stalker, but some people might call me one. I have a love affair with Katy Perry.
Oh,
She is my favorite pop singer, and I actually got to meet her in 2018 before her concert, which was amazing. And she was
amazing.
absolutely just the sweetest person.
Yeah. I love to hear that. Haley, that's like the first question that I ask of anyone if I find out they've met a celebrity. Like, are they nice? You just want people to be nice, don't you?
She was, and
Oh,
she is.
I love that.
And then my other favorite celebrity right now is a YouTuber. Her name is Colleen Ballinger. Her show on Netflix is called Haters Back Off. And I actually got to meet her as well in December at one of her live shows.
How are you making these things happen? You're just a
Uh,
manifester, aren't you? You just are a manifester.
I try, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to go to a red carpet event and
Okay.
go to an award show.
Okay. Well, and we're going to call out to all listeners. Reach out to Haley if you have connections to get her on the red carpet. And I will go with you if I must.
Okay,
Okay, good.
let's go.
We'll tag team it. I
But
mean,
other than
go
that,
ahead.
just stay healthy and maybe a little bit more traveling once COVID is like on a down low, like for longer than 2 months. And traveling is just really difficult for me, like physically speaking.
Yeah. So if other people are listening who are in this, let's say even just in a wheelchair, what are some tips and tricks that you have that make traveling easier?
I guess pre-boarding on an aircraft, bulkhead seating, because we need the space for my caregiver to get me safely in and out of the seat. But it's just I wish a wheelchair could drive onto the aircraft and click in somehow instead of me having to get hand like physically lifted on and off an airplane. It's not fun for me.
In this day and age, there should absolutely be locations in an aircraft that is ridiculous. I never
There's
even
not.
thought about that. I talked to someone else who said we can't travel because my son's in a wheelchair. He has CP. And why don't they? That's just dumb.
It
And
is
actually
dumb.
that's not equality focused and inclusion focused. And so that needs to be something that we start looking at.
Yeah,
Like a petition needs to
exactly.
get started. Like the government needs to look at that and say, you guys, there needs to at least be one location in every single airplane.
Exactly. I totally agree. And I would travel a lot more if there was.
Right.
And but also another issue for airline travel is the use of the bathroom. Now, I it's very dangerous for me to be lifted to the bathroom on an aircraft. The bathroom is very small. There's like literally no room for someone to safely hold me on that toilet in there. And I ain't gonna hold my bladder for 5+ hours on the airplane.
No. Or not drink because you're nervous that you're going to have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get dehydrated.
No.
What if you have to go number two?
Oy. Okay. These are good topics to talk about.
I mean, these are real
These
things.
are real things. No, it's true. It's real. This is real conversation. I mean, this whole episode is called What's It Like? I mean, that's what's it like to be in your shoes. And I appreciate you being so honest.
And another thing I want to talk about is having caregivers. They are a blessing. They are, and I'm very grateful for them. But it's also very difficult to have to rely on someone for going to the bathroom, getting a drink of water, getting fed, getting this, getting that. Like, I'm very grateful that they're here with me. But sometimes I just want it to be Angie and I here. And I would not put all that responsibility on Angie.
On her, right?
Mm-mm.
Do you have
No.
moments where it's just the two of you?
We do on Saturdays, just
Those are
one
probably
day.
pretty precious.
Yeah. And, people don't talk about, I mean, caregivers talk about what they go through being a caregiver, but getting the receiving end of it, you don't hear about it. I just want to make it known I am grateful to them because without them, I wouldn't, I don't know where I would be.
Well, and it also changes your relationship. If Angie were to take on more of that role for you, it completely changes the type of relationship.
It certainly does.
It's not a romantic love relationship anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's I've got to help you. And now she loves you to pieces and probably would have no problem doing that. And she's probably going to listen to this and be like, Jen, but at the same time, that's real. That's honest, is like you want
Yeah,
to have a loving, beautiful relationship with your partner, not, hey, can you wipe my ass?
yeah, exactly. Which I need done. So,
Yeah.
and my wife has her own limitations. She's on the spectrum and she also has ADHD. So, she has her limits to where she gets her spoons are done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put any more on her than she already does for me.
Right.
And I wanted to also say, she does take care of me in the evenings every night because my caregiver goes home. They don't spend the night. So it's her with me every night and every Saturday. So she goes above and beyond for me.
Well, let's honor her then. What would you like to tell her?
Stuff that she already knows, but I'll tell her again. I love you, honey. I appreciate you. I honor you as my spouse and as just a beautiful human being with a big heart and a beautiful soul.
Sounds like you guys are lucky to find each other.
I'm lucky. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she is too.
Thank you.
You're not too shabby, Haley.
Well, thank you, Jen.
I mean, it could be the filter, but
It could be.
okay. So Haley, I know you and Angie have a YouTube
Yes, we
channel.
do.
Tell me about that.
It's called Angie and Haley Present. And what it was initially was a school project that Angie was working on. And she was going to do like a documentary style video about us as a couple. And then it grew into this idea of having a YouTube channel where the idea is to give hope to other disabled individuals who are looking to find love, not just any love, but romantic love. And how if they're struggling, it's a way to give hope to show others, hey, this couple found love. So can you if you just don't give up.
Yeah, believe.
And I wanted to show that disabled couples, it's also called interabled couples, which is one person is disabled and the other is not visibly anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we are. We're an interabled couple. And it's just to show others that they can find love if they believe and, yeah, have hope. Sometimes it's just us being silly. Sometimes it's us testing out a new food or restaurant. We have interviewed other couples. So yeah, and then we have a Facebook page as well to go with it and an Instagram page.
And what are those? We'll put them in the show notes, but
they're all Angie and Haley Present.
All right. That's very cool. And do you go live ever?
We do. We don't have like a set schedule, but
okay.
Yes, we do go live, usually on our YouTube channel.
Okay. I'm excited. I'll check it out. I'm very excited.
And my TikTok is Mini Katy Cat 08. That's MINI Katy KATY Cat CAT 08. And I post all kinds of things on there, but mostly it's me singing songs.
I love that.
Style.
I can't wait to check it out. Thank you for giving us that information.
Yes.
Cool.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I truly appreciated the time that you've spent with me and educating me personally, but then all of our listeners. I know that this time is precious for you. So thank you. I do have one final question for you, which is going to be so interesting for me because I've only ever talked to caregivers and parents. What is one word that you would use to describe a person with special needs?
Equal.
Mm-hmm. You read my mind.
Equal.
Yep. Equal. I love you.
I love you too, Jen.
Thanks for
I want to meet you in person.
Well,
and
your mom lives a half a block away from me, so let's make this happen.
Yes, I'm not home very often.
I know.
You know, especially with all that snow there right now.
Ugh, don't even. You wouldn't, we would have to like make a tunnel for your wheelchair because there's no way.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll make that happen. Definitely let me know when you're coming down to Tahoe because that'd be cool.
Sweet. I will for sure. And thank you for choosing me to be on your podcast.
It was an honor. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found one or two meaningful nuggets of information to make your day better. If you think there's value in what we do, please take a moment to tell another friend, family member, or a caregiver. We'd love to hear from you at forourspecialkids@gmail.com. You can send in a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like to learn more about, or if you'd like us to highlight a certain person, please send that information to us. It makes our show so much better and so much more valuable for you. Our Facebook and Instagram handle is For Our Special Kids. And finally, remember to witness the wonder and the wisdom within yourself and others. Until next time.